And we're back with another Father-Son podcast. How you doing today, Forrest?
Good.
Good. A lot better now that I plugged into the board, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually recording what we're saying.
Yeah.
So, how are you today?
Good. I do have a topic.
What's that?
When we were talking about sports the other day, I was thinking, do you think it's moral to play sports to play contact sports like MMA or football, where there's a lot of maybe potentially dangerous contact?
Why would it not be moral? You mean to hurt somebody? Like if
Yeah.
you hurt somebody?
Do you think it's okay for MMA to exist legally?
Well, I hope so because I'm a fighter. I mean,
Yeah.
here's my thing about fighting in contact sports. It's part of human nature. As far back as we can remember, there's always been these competitions. Like there was the Olympics, and they wrestled back in the Olympics
Yeah.
and fought, and they fought the lions in Greece or whatever, and in Rome, and there's always been stuff because, in my opinion, people always need something to root for and somebody to root against. It all comes back to that same thing that is a fundamental human need. So I think it's a great way to get out some of that need because you watch, and where else do you go where, like 60,000 people are all rooting for the same thing? You know what I mean? And it's a great thing, but it's not so great because then there's a lot of hate from it too, because it's your team against the other team.
Yeah. Do you think it can be considered abusive to put people or to do that?
I think that you're being influenced by how soft culture is today.
Yeah.
I think that humans are made to be warriors, and that's the way we've been bred. We're just basically one level above animal, right? I mean, we have brains and we can think, but we still have biological needs for to do things, to be violent, to be the alphas. There's still all that inside of us, inside our DNA.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a healthy way to let it out. I mean, we're both on the field. We both train. So if I hit you and you get hurt, you get hurt. If we're fighting, we both train and hurt each other. We both know what we're getting into when we step in the ring. We both trained. We're both educated in the art. And, the best man's going to win. And sometimes someone gets hurt. And sometimes someone gets hurt real bad. And it's possible every time you go in there, maybe you don't come out. Or you come out fundamentally different. You're not the same person you were when you went in there.
Do you think that there should be certain standards that are laws in training?
I don't think the government should get involved in anything because they do a horrible job with running it. Anytime you have a group of people, no matter how good the intentions are, eventually I believe corruption gets in there somehow.
Yeah. If somebody dies, though, like in a practice or something, and it can be considered coach negligence, do you think that the coach should be arrested for murder? Do you think it could be considered as murder?
It just depends on the situation, man, because if you worked him too hard, he had a heat stroke and he died, I don't know. Maybe not. It depends on the situation. How can you... the coach is there to get the most out of the player. And most players are probably willing to give whatever they need to give to win their sport or make that big $1 million contract and feed their families,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough call. I don't think you can... I think sports have to have a different set of rules. And I think most leagues do a pretty good job with it. One thing I would like to see change is maybe the way that they cut weight for fighters.
Yeah.
And make it more like that wrestling style where you have to weigh in with a certain amount of hydration levels. But other than that, man, I don't know. The commissions do a really good job with the fighters. I think not a really good job, but they do an okay job. Every commission's different, which is a problem. But I don't know. What are you gonna do? There's a lot of things that could be better, but it's gonna take a very concerted effort to make it better. And most of the people that are in the position to make it better are going to choose to make money promoting the event and not spending that money to make the event better, so they make more money. And that's just the way that life works because we're all driven by the almighty dollar, as sad as it is. What do you think about that? Are you driven by the almighty dollar?
I don't know. Do you think if we went to bartering goods for do you think if we went back to bartering goods, like trading something not money for something also not money, do you think that would make the world less corrupted over money?
I don't know. Then we'd be corrupted over what we trade. Then we'd be trying to rip off. Oh, this bead is worth 6,000 bushels of hay or something, like they ripped off the Indians back in the day.
Yeah.
What do you think? That was an interesting suggestion. What made you think about the barter system?
Well, when the fair trade thing came up about coffee, I asked Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught me like about how bartering is different, how barter trade is different.
Right.
But I feel like since everybody needs money and everybody is so driven by money, I think that there should be I think people should be thinking about trying to find a substitute for money. I feel like in a way money is kind of evil because it can change people in the way that relationships work between people if money gets in the way, and I don't think that should be okay.
Right. I kind of like that. Sounds very spoken like a kid that doesn't have to work to pay the bills. Has never really struggled to pay the bills,
Mm-hmm.
when you are in a position where you can't afford to have heat. I mean, I was there one time when I was living at Stanley Street. I didn't have enough money to pay my gas bill, so my heat got shut off in the wintertime. Mm-hmm. Right? And when you're that poor, your opinions about money change a little bit. I would have done a lot to have a little bit more money. Eventually, I ended up borrowing some money from somebody, and I ended up paying it back with interest, and I paid that bill off. It was just a bad time because I had I forgot if that was when I broke my wrist or broke my leg. One of the times when I was hurt and I couldn't work. Mm-hmm.
So then you lost even more money?
Yeah. It was rough. I've been through some rough times, man.
Well then, wouldn't that change your view on money to be like... Wouldn't that change your view on money to make it more like you would want to change the way money works?
It just made me want more money, to be honest with you, so it didn't happen to me. And then for a while, I was like, man, I work so hard, I want my money. I don't care what happens to everyone else. And then as you get older, you tend to get more conservative, right? So you're like, oh, man, I worked hard for this money. I don't want to give it away. But I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and I've been really thinking about human nature a lot. And I know that's not a healthy attitude. So yeah. I want to give back. And now you'll see me all the time. If I see someone that needs something, I get it for them. Like when I'm you see me do it at Rite Aid. Like the guy looks thirsty, I buy him a drink. I try and make everyone happy. When someone looks sad, I try and get them a little gift. I try and do something for them. Even at work, I get cards for people. I think it's important that we try and make each other the best that we possibly can.
So do you think money brings that out of us? Do you think...
I don't think money is a problem, man. I think it all comes back to the way we relate with each other, because when there's a finite amount of something, when there's only so much of it, there's always going to be people that are driven to have the most, right? And then so you have your alphas that are always trying to be the best and have the most. And then you have people that don't really care about money and they're somewhere in the middle. I think it's the best that you can be is have a healthy respect for money. So you have to know what money can buy and what money can't buy. And you have to decide how much money you want. And when you plan for your life, you have to decide how much money means to you. And then once you make that decision, then it makes the rest of the choices in your life pretty easy. I'm actually listening to a CD about money in the car right now.
So do you think that money drives people in a good way?
I think money drives people in all kinds of different ways. Look at all the people that collect all the money for charity and they donate it to charity, right? Yeah. And there's people that are always fundraising for something or another, right? Mm-hmm. To do Girl Scouts or do other stuff so their kids can go do something. And then we're always fundraising for like soccer. And then we try and get money together for kids, and then sometimes I pay for a kid to do a tournament, something like that. And when that stuff happens, it's good, So money is just a tool. It's just like any other tool, right? It depends on how you use it. And so maybe wood's a tool, right? Wood's a tool, it makes fire, it makes sticks and stuff. If someone had all the wood, it would suck to try and get some wood from them, Some people are misers. Some people give all their wood away, and then they can't stay warm. Some people don't respect money and they don't deserve money. If you have a bunch of money and you just blow through it and you don't save and you just waste it, sometimes the lesson needs to be learned that you need to be able to hold on to your money.
Well, if you think that, then what do you think about colleges having, if you don't get a degree, you have to give so much money to a college?
What do you mean?
A good college. You know how all the good colleges have crazy tuition?
Right.
It's really hard to pay it off after, right? And if you don't have a significant other helping you, or your significant other also has big college debt, then don't you think that could make somebody's life worse? And if they already don't have money, then they can't use money to be better then, right?
Why do you need to go to college? You can go to trade school and make as much money as people in college. I'm not a big fan of this whole college thing. You don't have to go to we just actually had this talk with Mustafa. Remember, we were talking about why would you have to go to this college when you go to UB or community college? And those colleges are much, much cheaper, and you can still get the education you need, unless you need to be at an elite level school for a program that only that school offers. Like, say you want a PhD in, managing MMA fighters. Maybe there's only like one school in the world that does that, right? And you need to go there and you need to understand all the legal all the past laws and the torts and all the stuff that makes that a job, right? But I think that you don't need to go to school. There's so many jobs and open trades. Don't get me wrong, academia is great, and if you want to go and you need to go for your job, you have to go. And it's part of the continuing education. And people should love to go to school and get educated, but the way the system works, college has become overpriced. When college was initially made, it wasn't made for everybody to go. It was made for like elite people to go. And then the middle class started going, and now poor people need to go. And then it draws more and more money to schools, which makes the schools put up bigger and bigger ads, which makes schooling more important. So now every job you need a college education. So now more people need to go to school, and it's just an endless cycle.
So do you think it'd be okay if there were public colleges and then private colleges? Public colleges were free and paid for by some outside.
I don't think it should be free.
Why not? Because if almost every job that can make you successful enough to be middle class requires at least a 2-year degree, why shouldn't a college be free? So then somebody can...
I think that's part of paying your dues, man. I think you need to understand life. You need to be down and out. You can't start and just always have money and always have your way. I think you need to suffer a little bit, and I think you need to put in your time. So say you're like in a shop, like for me, an example. When I started out in a shop, all I did was sweep the floors. That's how I started out. And then after I swept the floors, and all I did was grind parts. And then after all I did was grind parts, and I got to drill the parts, which was the most boring job of all time. I'm mimicking just drilling. I did thousands of holes every day. That was the most boring shit I ever did in my entire life. I've almost fallen asleep and drilled my hand off like numerous times, right? Then I got to run other cooler machines, and I learned how to operate the CNC. Then I learned how to change the tools in the CNC. Then I learned how to set up the CNC. Then I learned how to program the CNC. Then I learned the math to do all that. Then I learned a computer program to use them, so I don't have to do the math to do all that. And each step I made more and more money. When I first started out, I was making shit, dude. Mm-hmm. I was making the same amount that I was making washing dishes. But now I look at our house, between me and Mom, we've established ourselves. I'm the head machinist where I work, and I made it from nothing, really, It helped that my dad had a shop, but he never did me any favors, dude. He made me start from sweeping in the thing. Mm-hmm. And that's the same thing with school. you can't just expect someone to pay for you for your whole life. You
Yeah.
need to earn your keep, and if you can't earn your keep, you need to borrow that money. And if you borrow that money, then you need to pay it back with interest, because you're not borrowing it from a friend, you're borrowing it from school. You know? And if your family can't afford to send you, then you need to take that debt upon yourself if that's the job you want.
So basically, what you believe is that paying for college creates adversity for people, and that adversity eventually makes them better?
I think it weeds out the people. And I think until we can make something where we can take care of everybody, right? Some system where we can afford to take care of everybody, which we can't do right now because there's just no way. There's ways to do it, but you have to eliminate corruption. You have to, human nature has to change for everyone to have doesn't have to work, and it's like Star Trek where everyone doesn't need money, they can do whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah.
The world is not going to be like that because the world is a shitty place, right? A lot of people don't care about you, and if you die, they don't care if they make 10 cents on you, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people that you're going to have to deal with in life. There's bad people, there's good people, there's people that don't care, there's people that cared and then they don't care anymore because they've been grinded out. There's people that were awful and then all of a sudden something bad happens to them and they become good, right? Who we are changes with our life, and all that's a cycle, and it all goes into this.
Yeah.
I forgot what the question was now.
So do you think adversity makes people better then?
Yes. Adversity definitely, and maybe not better, but it tests you. And once you're tested, you can have a deeper faith in yourself. And the more you believe in yourself, the more you can accomplish. I truly, truly believe that now.
Well, that's why I feel like a generation being as soft as ours is bad. Because we don't get to face adversity until...
That's not your fault. That's our fault. That's my generation's fault for making it too easy for you. And you don't have it too easy. We make it a little bit tough on you. Not as tough as the McBrides, right? The McBrides are freaking tough. But we make it tough on you. I make you do chores all day. A lot of kids can just sit around and play video games. If I came home and you didn't do what I asked you to do today, I would lambaste you on this podcast right now. And it's happened to you once, right? And it didn't feel good, did it?
No.
That's what happens when you fuck up at work. They come in and they yell at you and they let you know you messed up, and they might go home, and then you don't got a job or you don't get paid for the day, and you need to experience that now. When I was a kid, dude, I had to do my chores or I would be in trouble, and trust me, I did a lot more than you did, and people thought my mom was too nice on me back then, and it's a cycle because each generation gets a little bit better off, so we can make things better for you right now. Do you know, I'm not sure how true this is, but I'm pretty sure this is a true fact. Everyone that makes over $34,000 is in the top 10% of income earners in the world. In the world. I'm not sure that there's a fact. I heard this on Joe Rogan a couple times in the last couple of days. I haven't actually researched it myself, so I can't say 100% is true. But normally it's pretty accurate on that podcast.
That's very believable. When you look at everywhere besides pretty much North America, there's a lot of places, and even in North America, there's a lot of places where people are living on barely anything. And there's a lot of people who are homeless and stuff. So, I mean, because that's also where jobs come into play, right?
Right, yeah.
When there's not enough jobs, not enough people can make money, and then that's what happens.
I'm going to have Mr. Aaron on this podcast. Aaron, I forgot his last name. Goddamn, I'm sorry, Aaron. But I'm going to have him on this podcast. Not the father-son one, but the Caveman's Corner. Hopefully next week or the week after that. He's going to come in. He went to, I believe, Haiti. I forgot. He was supposed to go to Haiti. He went somewhere else. Jesus Christ. I talk about this in the locker room, and what he told me moved me, but the details are escaping me right now.
Yeah.
I think I need some pills to make me remember some shit. But anyways, he went to another country, and they took care of him. And the bathroom in this lady's house, this lady was having all the refugees come in, and they were doing medical care on people, and they all went in his house. And the bathroom was, and this girl's, it's a 2-bedroom house. And the bedroom is separated by a sheet. And the bathroom was in the girl's bedroom, and it was a pot. So you just crapped in the pot. If you had to make a tinkle, you went outside. I don't know why I just said tinkle when I've been swearing this whole podcast, but you, because when you were a kid, you say tinkle. You said, go tinkle. I don't say go take a piss. I say go make a tinkle, right? Like, why do we do that shit? I don't know. But, yeah, they went to the bathroom in her room, and then she would clean it because it's her house, and it's an honor to clean up after the guests. I mean, that's how poor people are in other parts of the country. And we're like, oh, we're poor because we only have 3 TVs and I don't have an iPhone. You know, like the world, we're so spoiled in our world, you know? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's just nice to appreciate what we have.
Sometimes I feel like, though, a lot of people who are really successful and, like, the TV shows are talking about them, I feel like all of those had some major hurdle that they had to go through.
Yeah.
And I feel like that major hurdle doesn't exist anymore because of the way how successful the last generation has been, and then their kids don't know all that they had to go through and all the adversity that they faced that made them successful. So now this generation has so much that they don't need to face any major adversity since they've had like tough love, and that's gonna make people like me good, but I feel like not as good, maybe.
Right. Well, people with a lot of money have run into some tough times. When Twin Towers happened and the stock markets crashed, a lot of people lost a lot of money. When the housing market crashed, a lot of people lost a lot of money. So people run into some hard times that never had hard times before. Mm-hmm. And having money is a skill. Okay, so it takes a lot of skill to make money, or patience, right? Sometimes it takes your whole life to make money, and then you leave it to your kids. If they just squander it, it's not so good.
Yeah.
But once you have money, it's easier to make money because the world is set up. When you have money, you can invest it in stuff that shields you from taxes, and there's a lot of great things that you can do when you have money. You can invest in stuff that you barely pay any taxes on. So when you make money, you don't have to pay as much taxes. So it's easier to invest money and make an earning than it is to go out and work and earn a living, because the taxes that you pay on living can be up to 35%. 25 to 35% of my check every week goes to the government, mm-hmm. right off the bat. Then another 6% goes into my retirement savings. Mm-hmm. Right? So right off the bat, that's 41% of my check that's gone. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Then I give another 18% to Jamie, mm-hmm. Destiny's mom.
Yeah.
Because I had a baby with her, and my financial responsibility is to take care of Destiny.
Yeah.
So 18 or 26, I forget if it's 18 or 26%. I forgot exactly what percentage it is.
But it's a big percentage, again.
Yeah. I know how much it is, but I don't know what the percentage is exactly.
Yeah.
So that goes to Jamie, right? Then I have union dues, which is another 3%. And then I get the rest of that money, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that's, a bunch of my money is gone. If I had capital gains, right? So capital gains are if I invest in something, it pays a dividend and I make interest on that, and I don't take the money out. All that money that I just made, it gets taxed at like 15% or 10%.
So if you invest in it, you don't have to pay as much tax.
Right. So that money is creating more money much faster than me working.
Yeah.
So say I earned, I don't know, whatever I earn. I don't want to say it on the podcast, but say I earn like $60 an hour, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take me a goddamn long time to make $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And then once I make $1 million, it's going to take me longer to get more than $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. But let's say I start with, $500,000, and it takes me half that time. Working to make $500,000 would take like 25. If it took me 100 years to save up that 500,000, it would only take me like 30 something years to to do it just by investing it, right?
Yeah.
So that money is just incredible when you go through all the tax shelters that you can use. Or say I buy a house and like in Lovejoy, like our house, if we turned it and we just like scammed it out and rented it out for a great amount of money and didn't really take care of it like a slumlord, we can make a lot of money doing that, right? But that's not what good people do. And we like our neighbors there, so we gotta eventually take care of that house too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why colleges need to change.
And that's not why colleges need to change.
That's
just
why
attitudes about it need to change. And if they're gonna change college, what they should do is they should rein in the spending, because the government subsidizes so much of the schools that it makes sense for them to charge so much, right?
maybe not change colleges, but like somewhere along the road in schooling, this is important stuff. I mean, if you don't know how to do all this because you just went to school and maybe you didn't have the most educated parents on this, you'll never know that you can just invest money and shelter you from a lot of tax that you might have to pay otherwise.
But you need to make that money before you can invest it. That's the whole thing. Like, I don't have enough money to invest it. What am I going to invest? $10? $50? Even at $10 a week, that doesn't... I have my 401k, you know, that doesn't... It makes me like 8%, you know? I'm not paying taxes on it, but that's only 8%, and it's such a small number. But if I had real money and I had real investments, then it'd be different, you know?
Yeah.
And the goal is to make that much money. So as you get older, you save, and you can't put all your money into investments because you can lose on investments too. Not all those investments are going to pay it out. You know, so if you buy a stock that pays dividends and then you try and roll it over, but you lost money in the stock, then you lost that investment.
Yeah.
You know, so you can lose your money investing too. So it's you have to have a lot of knowledge, and sometimes it's just luck too. Mm-hmm. And then you have guys that have the inside trader information that are getting you, like the guy that just got arrested. Yeah. I forgot who right now. But yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff going on. Man, my memory is shot. It's way too late to be doing a podcast. With that being said, let's get the hell out of here tonight.
Okay.
All right, dude?
Yeah.
I love you, man. You're one smart cookie. Is it hot in here or is it me?
It's hot in here.
I am sweating my freaking balls off, dude. I'm glad I didn't shower yet. Holy cow. Right?
My hands are just sweating.
I keep being nervous and they put them under my armpits. That's from Saturday Night Live, man. Probably like, of the 30 people that listened to that, one of them was going to catch that. All right, let's get the hell out of here, man. I love you, dude. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for putting up with my vulgar language and not chastising me for it. All right?
Yeah.
I love you, man. Let's do this again tomorrow. Friday, we're doing football. Maybe we'll do another 1st and 10. All right?
Isn't it 1st and 11?
1st and 11, whatever. Oh, I got to find that soundtrack again, too.
Now it has to be 1st and 5 because you got a penalty.
All right, 1st and 5. 1st and 5 because your draft was so bad. 1st and 25. We'll call it 1st and 25. All right, let's get out of here. I love you, dude.
Love you too.
Bye.